Spring is here, Easter is here, and that's our topic for today's episode. This is episode 23. I'm Soraya.
I'm Aurora.
And together we're just your average Disney travelers. Okay, so we actually have never been to the parks or on a cruise during Easter.
Nope.
In fact, I don't think, Rory, have you been to the parks in the spring?
I don't think so.
You've been there in February.
Yeah, I've been there in fall and summer.
Yeah.
I think that's the only time I haven't.
I don't think you have been. It just hasn't worked out for our family to go. I have been in the spring twice, work-related things, but we haven't been as a family. And when I went, it wasn't strict, right? It wasn't real close to Easter. It was just spring. And so the thing with Disney and Easter is they do have some things that they do that are special because, a lot of people are going for their holiday and they want to have that feel there, but it's nothing like Christmas or even Halloween.
Yeah.
Not the big to do, no big parties. It doesn't go on for weeks and weeks and weeks. In fact, the Easter theme, like they'll have spring things during springtime, but the Easter theme things are really limited to like sometimes only a week or 2 or 3 weeks, depending on what the activity is.
Yeah.
So, all right, where should we start? Should we start with the parks?
Yes.
And after this, I forgot. We are going to talk about some news too. Should we do the news first or the news after? Should we make them wait?
That's what was going in my mind. Like, let's make them wait till the end.
Okay, so we'll do the news later. But first, we're going to talk about Easter at Disney. So where should we start? We'll start with the parks.
Well, let's start with the characters.
Okay.
Let's do that.
And and these are mostly this. Is essentially similar ideas, at least. Maybe not everything identical the same.
Yeah, but similar ideas
at Disneyland and Disney World.
Yeah, and it probably depends on the timing.
Probably, yeah. Okay, so what can we expect for characters?
You can expect almost all the rabbit characters, like the White Rabbit, Thumper, Briar Rabbit. I can speak. And then on Easter Day, doesn't the Easter Bunny?
I think Easter Bunny is probably there for like at least a week. I think Disneyland and of course all of this is what we've seen traditionally. Right now, of course, Disney World is open, and so they are having Easter stuff going on. But Disneyland is not open quite yet, and so they aren't going to have Easter this year, obviously. But we assume when it comes back, the similar things will come back. Maybe not perfectly identical because any year to year is a little different anyways. Yeah. But anyways, so Easter Bunny has traditionally been there for at least a week, or like the week leading up to Easter, I believe. Disney World might have it for a little bit longer, and they actually have Mr. and Mrs. Bunny for Easter Bunny, I believe. But yeah, so bunny characters. What else?
They have Easter egg hunts.
Mm-hmm.
So you can sign up for this and you can receive like, what exactly is it? Like a map?
I think it's a map. I honestly, since we haven't done it, I don't really know. It's like, I think it's a little map.
And I think you also get a basket.
Oh, do you?
At least for Disney World. I don't know.
Oh,
when I was looking it up, I was saying, "Oh, you can get this cool collectible." I was like, "Okay."
So
like, I don't really know.
So the way it's probably something you can purchase.
Yeah.
So to do the hunt, this is called. Do you remember what it's called?
Extravaganza. Extravaganza scavenger hunt.
Yeah, extravaganza. Egg hunt, whatever, I don't know what it is, but extravaganza is what it's called. And so you go to purchase this map or whatever, and then you can go on this hunt and find all of the egg locations.
Yeah, and then when you finish, you get to like turn it in somewhere, not really sure exactly how.
Probably the same location you purchased from, most likely.
Yeah, probably.
And I'm not sure, honestly. Okay, we're horrible at this because we haven't done it yet. I don't know if there's a kiosk or anything. I think I would guess if I was showing up for the first time and hadn't done my research well, I would go to a gift shop. I would go to like the main gift shop.
And then you get a prize afterwards.
Right. You get a prize. Now, obviously, anybody can do this hunt without purchasing the map. You just don't get the prize after.
Yeah.
So usually what it has been is about $7 per map or per game, whatever you want to call it. So if you are going to, and you do want the prize, it's $7 a piece. But if you just want to do it for fun, maybe you just want to go around taking pictures of the locations or whatever, you don't need to pay. You can just do it yourself.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else? What else? Or do you want me to do something next? Another thing we're going to find during Easter are Easter themed foods, like treats and things. You'll also find that there will be 1 or 2 restaurants that have a traditional Easter brunch as well as a traditional Easter dinner. And so for those that really, really love that traditional, or, those foods, the ham and potatoes and everything, then you can certainly find that on in the parks. And that would be at Disneyland as well as Walt Disney World. So both of those. Of course, there's also souvenirs, merchandise, pins, all kinds of things that you can purchase to commemorate, that you spent Easter at Disney, whether it's Disneyland or Disney World. There's a few things that are different at Disney World, though. Being larger, there's more opportunities. Do you have any that you want to? You're going to let me do it all.
Okay. You can do all that.
Well, Easter coincides. Well, obviously, it's spring. So during the spring at Epcot.
Oh, wait, yeah.
You do know this. Do you want to share that one, or do you want me to do it still?
You can do it. Okay. Started.
Easter has festivals throughout the year, of course, and spring, of course, is a flower and garden festival because that is when flowers and gardens are thriving.
Yeah.
And so the kinds of things, what will we see at a flower and garden festival? What kind of things would one see?
My brain just went flowers.
Well, flowers, yes, you would see flowers. Good job. Also,
butterfly, the butterfly garden.
There's a butterfly garden.
I don't know if that's where you're going, but
that is one of them. Yeah.
Okay.
So a variety of gardens and exhibits, but that butterfly garden is one of them, where you can actually go in and butterflies will probably land on you. I'm not going to guarantee it.
That would be cool.
But yeah. And then also they have topiaries, and they have topiaries throughout the year anyways. You're always going to see a topiary here or there, but during Flower and Garden, there's a ton of them, and they're really cool. They almost always are like the Disney character themed. They're going to be shaped and decorated as the characters.
For those who don't know what a topiary is, which I did not know previously until like an hour ago, it is a bush that is shaped.
Yes. What's really cool is I've seen some, I don't know that there was necessarily a whole show on it, but I know I've seen here and there, like some behind the scenes of them being created, like the gardeners and the people who actually create them, and how long they work on shaping these and growing these and creating these beautiful, I mean, really, they're works of art. They're just beautiful.
It's like sculpting, but with
it
a
is
living thing.
Exactly. And it's just incredible. And so it's really neat to see them. I, honestly, this is probably the time of year I really, really would love to go to Disney World, especially next, if it works out for us, because I have always wanted to go to the Flower and Garden Festival.
Yeah.
We've done other festivals, but we haven't done that one. And I think it would be fantastic.
Yeah.
So that is going on, of course, during Easter, because it's going on throughout all of spring. There's also the resorts. Some of the resorts will have decorated chocolate eggs in their lobbies, like big eggs that are decorated really extravagantly, like beautifully, elegantly. And they're incredible. Of course, most of it is Disney themed. So you might see Disney characters on these eggs, or maybe even just the coloration that is, kind of alluding to those characters. Yeah. But it's really cool. You can go kind of like at Christmas time, you can go and they have gingerbread houses in all of those resorts. These are mostly in the deluxe resorts. And you can kind of hop around and check out all the gingerbread houses. You can do that with these eggs as well. And so that's really neat. All right. Anything else? What next for you, or anything?
I don't know if there's anything.
Okay.
You did more research than me. I took like 15 minutes at most.
That's okay. Because
like
adult child, that's 7. Fair. All right. So one other thing I would mention is that I'm not so sure. I didn't see any about this at Disneyland. And my guess is because Disneyland is so close to the city, like it's surrounded by the city and it'd be so easy to access. anywhere you needed to go in the city, that they may not do it there for that reason. But at Disney World, they do usually have at least one location where there are some services held on Easter morning. There usually will be a Catholic mass and as well as a Protestant service. And so if you're vacationing, it's not as easy to get off property unless you've rented a car. A lot of people don't rent a car at Disney World. And so they do have those options available to you if you happen to be there on Easter and would like to start your day that way. It's available.
Yeah.
All right. So let's leave the parks. Disney also has cruises sailing during Easter. And again, we have not done that yet either. Nope. You probably won't, but maybe someday. But okay, so there are some similarities with the parks, of course, and then there's going to be some differences.
Yeah. So we'll start off characters again. Might as well.
Yeah.
They won't have as many characters, but still same idea. They'll have like Rabbit's characters.
I think the Easter Bunny is there.
Yeah.
And then really, because Daisy is already on board, she will, of course, make a special appearance during Easter. Otherwise, I think that mostly it's, you're not going to see the other rabbits. It's hard on the cruise ships because they just can't bring everybody on every cruise. And so you're not going to get a lot of extra bunnies, at least traditionally they haven't. But you might see characters dressed up in Easter attire. You'll see this in the parks too. Like Mickey and Minnie might be wearing some spring or Easter themed clothes. And so you might see that on ships as well. So that's one thing. They're going to have they already often have different services on Sundays for people traveling. So they always have an interdenominational service, but they will also usually have on Easter Sunday a Catholic priest there for Mass. So you can expect that. Anything else you want to, what's the next thing you would bring up?
The activities. I don't know what age groups these are directed. I'm gonna guess definitely kids, but I don't know if like adults can participate.
I imagine that a lot of times adults can usually join in with their kids.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure.
Yeah. So there are crafts, face painting, egg hunts.
Yeah, just different
spring activities, a bit more than you'd be able to do in the park since it's on a cruise.
Yeah.
Like it's a little pretty easier to do like crafts there.
Yeah. And a little bit more of a need to, because a day at sea,
there's have something to do.
Things to do, and so they usually have good activities. So these activities that they normally have are now tailored towards Easter and spring. So they'll also have decorative displays throughout the ship. I'm not sure how elaborately, but so you can expect some Easter decorations. So that's fun. And then finally, you can always have things delivered to your rooms, any type of celebration, really. You can order them, but they specifically do have Easter baskets that can be ordered and delivered to your stateroom on the cruise ships. So that's kind of nice because really you're limited on what you space of things you're bringing in because you're limited to 2 bags or checked bags per person. And sometimes that's not as much space as a lot of people want. And so you might be running out of space and not have enough room to bring Easter basket stuff. So if you wanted to, you could pre-order that and have that delivered. Of course, then you got to get it off the ship, but they don't limit how many bags you take off the ship, which is a good thing because I like to shop, whether it's in port or on the cruise ship in the store.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's really all we can share with you about Easter at Disney because we've not done it ourselves. So of all of those things, what would you as a teenager, what do you think you'd be most interested in doing? Or is there anything?
Probably the egg hunts because, I like to do things, especially like moving around and looking for things. And so
it's like a scavenger hunt.
Yeah, I enjoy scavenger hunts. I always enjoy Easter egg hunts when we do them at home, even though this year I'm going to be the only one doing it.
Only one at home this year.
Yeah. But I'm I like those kind of things. And so it's a personal thing. It's obviously different for all teenagers, but I feel like that would probably be
I think the egg hunts are fun too because I think that would be something that the whole family can do together.
Yeah.
Any age can participate in it, have fun doing it. Even the adults can get in on it. So that would be a really fun one to do.
Yeah, and just sort of something I've noticed, that even though I'm looking for a certain thing, if like at a parks, if I'm looking for a certain thing, I tend to also notice more details than I wouldn't have if I wasn't actually looking more.
Yeah, and it's a really good way to do that, to kind of notice more of the parks, and because sometimes people will get there and they're so focused on the attractions and the rides and the shows even, but you miss everything in between, and there's so many details literally anywhere you are in the parks, really.
Yeah.
You could stop and just spend a few minutes looking around, and the longer you're there, the more you would find. And it all will combine to tell a story. Every single thing is so, intentional and deliberate. And so, by doing that, it forces you to look at things that you hadn't looked at before, and in a way you hadn't looked at it before.
Yeah.
So that would be fun. All right. Yeah. Well, good to know. Okay. So now for the news. I guess I probably should have shared some of this last time in our last episode, but I didn't even think about it. So let's update you. We have a date, an opening date for Disneyland. It is this month because we are in April now. It is April 30th. It's the very last day of the month, but it's still this month.
Does April only go to 30th?
Yes.
Oh, fun fact.
Yeah. So it's the very last day of the month, but it still made it in this month.
Yes.
So that's all that counts. And April, it will be, we'll have Disneyland open. It will still only be to California residents. So not us.
Yeah. But it's gotta take steps.
Yep. You gotta start somewhere. You gotta start somewhere. We kept asking for them to start somewhere. And so we're happy that they are. It's undetermined yet because we're still more than 2 weeks out as to whether they're going to be like which capacity level, because that's all based on what COVID level their county is in.
Yeah.
And so it'll be either 15%, which I would expect, possibly a little bit more, maybe like 25% at the most. So we'll see how well they're doing down there or over there, whichever direction you're coming from. But so that's good news. Fun, exciting news that was kind of a surprise to everyone about a week ago. Disney announced or sent out a proposal of a possible future expansion for Disneyland. And that's exciting because after all of this with COVID and how much they've lost and being shut down for literally more than a year, there have been some people who even questioned whether Disneyland would stay in California. Is it even worth it to stay in a place that's they're not going to support them really when it comes down to it. And so this was a real talk. And so for this to come out shows Disney's intent to stay where they are and to try to build. And it's also, so what this is not is an actual plan. This is not an actual announcement. This is not an actual approved plan in any way, shape, or form. What this is actually kind of more of a campaign. So what they've got a certain dynamic going on. And for a long time, they've had other times where they've tried here. Okay. So the biggest thing is Disney owns property around Disneyland, but those areas are zoned for specific things. And they're not zoned to be parts of a theme park, or even some of them are not zoned for shopping or hotels. They're parking lots. And so Disney has in the past tried to get some of the, oh my goodness. Alarms, man. I didn't even think about that. So Disney has in the past tried to get some things rezoned, and there's been back and forth, and some things almost went through and didn't, and really basically it came to nothing. And so but given what has happened in the last year, this is a really good opportunity. Anaheim, I think, is recognizing, I mean, they're hurting. All of the area is hurting. Lots of businesses are hurting. They've just missed out on over a year's worth of tourism, and that was a big boom for their economy. And so this is now taking a big hit to their economy. And I think they're recognizing, and I think Disney's taking advantage or trying to take advantage of this chance while it's fresh and new to Anaheim to think about how much they want Disney to be strong there and how much they need Disney to be strong there. Because what if Disney were to up and leave? It would be like COVID nonstop down there in some of those areas, because you would lose so much of what brings people there. Yeah. And so even some of the other theme parks and amusement parks and places like that, they may not have gotten people there if they weren't already going to Disneyland. They tacked on medieval times or Knott's Berry Farm or things like that to their trips. They weren't going for those things, but they went because they were in the area. And so all these places have benefits from Disney doing well there. And so I think they're taking advantage of that feel and that spirit right now to say, okay, so while you're feeling good about us, can you throw us a bone? Will you consider rezoning these areas? Because we would, in the long run, like to grow. And the only way, I hear a lot of people will kind of complain about some of the changes that happen in the park sometimes, especially when rides get changed and made over and favorites are taken away to make for new things.
Tower Terror to Guardians of the Galaxy.
Exactly. And the problem that Disney has with Disneyland is they don't have a lot more space. They've just done another major expansion with Galaxy's Edge, but really they literally have nowhere else to go.
Yeah.
And the only way to bring things that are new to Disneyland are to get rid of things that are old.
Yeah.
And we're running out of things that we're willing to get rid of. And so it's the only way, something has to give. And so Disney is saying, look, if we can't grow our boundaries, we're going to have to lose some of these classics that you love, that as a whole, we all love. And Disney doesn't want to do that any more than any of us want to see it happen. And so this is what this is, this proposal, this Disney Forward, I think Disneyland Forward is basically a campaign to get the people on board and to convince them that this is what they want them to do and hopefully get it approved. And it does not mean that in a year or two, they're going to start breaking ground. It doesn't mean that in even 5 years, they'll have expanded somewhere. It doesn't mean anything for sure. It just means that it will be a possibility. And it means that they would like to see that happen in the future whenever that is able to take place. But that's still exciting. And what we see in Disneyland Forever, or not Forever, that was the best fireworks show they ever had, in my opinion. Disneyland Forward, on that website, we see some artist rendition, and they're very vague. You don't see specifics, but you can see what looks to be 2 areas where both parks, Disneyland and California Adventure, both get expanded. They both get, they basically spill over their boundaries, and there will be a tunnel or a bridge or something that takes them over, under, somehow through, across the streets to areas where Disney has property right now that they would like to see in the future zoned for these kinds of purposes. And that would be cool. So it would be enough room for each park to get another, I don't know, 3-4 new attractions, who knows? And that'd be fun.
Yeah. New
lands in both parks. So we'll see. This is potentially in our future at Disneyland.
Yeah.
So that was big news. I don't think very many people expected it. They didn't expect it for sure. Now, those kinds of announcements don't come just randomly throughout the year. They're saved for special things like, the expos and stuff. But, given the situation, they don't want to miss their chance and their opportunity to take advantage of the feel and the spirit right now.
Yeah.
And so I'm supportive of it.
Me too.
Yeah. I hope a lot of people are supportive of it. I hope that the people of Anaheim are supportive of it and that it gets approved, that they change those zoning. I think what they're looking for is zoning for multiple uses, to give them flexibility and everything. And I think that's what the hard part is. I think Anaheim they want it zoned for one purpose, not multiple purposes. And so I think this is what they're hoping for. So good luck to Disney on that. I hope they get it. And that's about it. We hope that you have a good Easter with your family and your loved ones. Hopefully this Easter is feeling a lot brighter than last Easter, where I think a lot of people were kind of lonely last Easter. It was, I think we were all pretty much in lockdown still. And so now we're breathing the free air, gathering a little bit more. And so hope that you get the chance to do that with your loved ones this Easter. And that's it. We'll see you next week.
See you.